It's freezing. Assalamualaikum and konnichiwa. Today, our group will present a contrastive analysis of online discourse in travel vlogs to Mount Fuji in Japan by two different vloggers. My name is Nur Izzah, and to kick things off, let's look at video blogs or vlogs as a distinct form of online discourse. Unlike traditional written text like the web blog, vlogs are naturally multimodal. They do not just rely on words. They dynamically combine spoken narrations, immediate visual backdrops, and active audience interaction through comment sections, likes, and shares. This way, a two-way interaction or communication is created, and both the vlogger and audience can benefit from the acknowledgement, exchanging ideas or opinions. So, one thing about vlog is the spontaneous delivery and heavy reliance on paralinguistic features such as tone of voice, facial expressions, and raw reaction to construct meaning. They don't just document a trip, they actively reflect the speaker's personal identity and ingrained cultural values, making them a rich landscape for modern intercultural communication studies like what we are doing right now. So let's move on to 1.2. How and why do we actually study this? We use a powerful linguistic tool called contrastive analysis. The core purpose of this is to take two different language systems, place them side by side, and systematically map out their structural vocabulary and contextual similarities and differences. When we apply this to vlogs that we are analyzing, it reveals how different cultural backgrounds reshape the language delivery when people experience the same thing. So, this brings us to justification for the chosen theme, travel vlogs to Mount Fuji in Japan. Why did we choose this? First, travel naturally brings out raw, spontaneous reactions, highly descriptive vocabulary, and unique cultural framing, like when we are describing the beauty of Mount Fuji, what kind of language we are using. Second, Mount Fuji acts as our perfect baseline common ground. The mountain is iconic and stays exactly the same. It doesn't change. What changes is the way these two vloggers are using their language to describe the Mount Fuji. By tracking a Malay vlogger and a Filipino Canadian vlogger viewing the same mountain, we can clearly see how cultural identity dictates linguistic choices. Now, let's look at the core purpose of our study. This research aims to systematically investigate the differences and similarities in linguistic delivery between these two vloggers. Specifically, we want to uncover how their distinct cultural backgrounds influence their language choices when communicating the same physical experience, in this case, traveling to Mount Fuji. To do this, our study focuses on three linguistic items: language structure, vocabulary choice, and special expressions. We have established two objectives for the study. Our first objective is to identify and explain these three specific linguistic items as they appear naturally in the Malay and English vlog transcript. We aren't just skimming through the surface, we are diving straight into the raw transcript to pull out concrete evidence of how this vlogger speaks. We will go through this deeper in the finding sections later. Our second objective is to systematically analyze the differences and similarities between these two datasets. We want to cross-examine their language structure, choice of vocabulary, and special expressions while looking through a cross-cultural lens and answer the deep questions of why and proving how cultural dynamics actively shape the way we tell stories online. So, with our objectives clearly set, let's look at how we actually gathered the data. I'll pass the floor to presenter number 2 to break down our methodology.
Before I move into the linguistic items, let me briefly explain the five-step contrastive procedure we used in our methodology. Since it was covered earlier, our analysis followed five steps. First, we selected two vlogs about Mount Fuji, one in Malay and one in English. Second, we transcribed them into sentences phrases and expressions, identifying features such as pronouns, idioms, and discourse markers. Third, we compare these features side by side. Fourth, we predicted learner challenges such as sentence structures, idioms, and pronoun use. And finally, we verify our findings against blog data and supporting literature to ensure accuracy. With this foundation, I will now move on to the linguistic items we analyzed. The first item is language structure, which refers to the grammatical arrangement of words and clauses, including sentence types, word order, and the use of pronouns. The second item is choice of vocabulary, which means the selection of words and expressions that shape clarity, tone, and emotion in communication. The third item is special expression, which includes idioms, exclamations, and discourse markers that add symbolic meaning and reflect cultural identity. Now, let me explain two specific aspects of language structure: sentence style and negation. For sentence style, the Malay vlog uses short, simple sentences such as akhirnya dapat juga pemandangan Mount Fuji. This style is spontaneous, direct, and emotionally immediate, reflecting collectivist communication that values shared reaction. In contrast, the English blog uses longer, complex sentences such as "Hey guys, good morning from Fuji Kawaguchiko, a small town near Mount Fuji." This combines greetings with descriptive detail, showing plain narration and clarity, which reflects individualist communications and value structured self-expressions. For negation, the Malay vlog uses the particle tak, as in tak nampak lagi Fuji kabus tebal, which directly negates the verb and conveys immediacy. The English vlog, however, uses auxiliary verbs with not, as in hopefully it doesn't set too fast. This shows grammatical precision and a more structured way of expressing limitation. Malay negation emphasizes simplicity and shared clarity, while English negation emphasizes detail and accuracy. From these comparisons, we found that linguistic features mirror cultural orientation. Malay bloggers emphasize spontaneity, emotional immediacy, and collectivist values, while English vloggers emphasize clarity, structure, and individualist values. For the next one, I will pass it to the next presenter.
According to Portal Academia (DALCCH 2020), possessive pronouns are words used to indicate ownership or possession of a person, subject, or idea. In English, examples include my, your, his, her, our, and their. And in Malay, possession can be expressed through forms such as saya punya, aku punya, awak punya, dia punya, and expressions like kita. As you can see, the sentence I take for the examples for the Malay vlog, we focus on the part when the speaker says sushi kita while showing the food that has just arrived. Even though the sushi actually belongs to the vlogger himself, he chose to use the word kita, which literally means our, instead of emphasizing personal ownership. And this expression actually creates a warm and inclusive atmosphere, making the audience feel as though they are sharing the dining experience together with him. And in comparison, the English vlogger said, we focus on the part when he said, you didn't even leave me some of ice cream. Here, the possessive pronoun is my, clearly indicate that the ice cream belongs to the speaker himself. The focus is placed on the individual ownership and personal perspective. So the similarity between both blogs is that they use possessive forms to indicate ownership while making their narrations more engaging and relatable. In both cases, the audience can easily understand who the food belongs to. However, the difference lies in the communicative style. The Malay blogger chose to use kita to create a sense of togetherness and strengthen the relationship within the viewers. On the other hand, the English blogger used my to directly express personal ownership. The difference can be explained using Hofstede individualism versus collectivism dimensions, where Malaysia is generally considered a collectivist culture, where communications offer emphasis on the shared harmony and also shared identity. And this is reflected in the use of kita, which make the audience feel included. In contrast, English-speaking culture are generally more individualistic, so expressions like mine naturally highlight personal ownerships and individual identity. So next, we'll look at the demonstrative pronouns. Demonstrative pronouns are words used to point to specific people, object, or places based on their distance from the speaker. According to Portal Academia del CCH 2020, English used for demonstrative this, that, these, and those, while Malay mainly use ini and itu. In everyday spoken Malay, ini is often shortened to ni. So looking at the chosen examples I choose from the Malay blog, we focus on the part where the speaker say, Ferrari hot spring ni dia ada free shuttle. The word ni refers to the nearby hot springs that the viewer can already see on the screen. Because both of the speaker and the audience share the same visual context, the shortened form sounds natural and conversational. Meanwhile, the English blogger says, look at this, you are into Hello Kitty, while pointing at the several Hello Kitty souvenirs. The demonstrative pronoun these clearly tell the audience that she is referring to multiple nearby objects, which is Hello Kitty. So the similarity I found in both bloggers is that they use demonstrative words to guide the audience attentions toward the specific places or objects. And this makes the narrations more interactive and easier to follow. However, there is an important grammatical difference. Malay use ni regardless of whether the noun is singular or plural. So the audience depends more on the context to understand the meaning. While in English, they distinguish between singular and plural forms, requiring speaker to choose this, that, these, or those correctly. This difference can be linked to Hofstede uncertainty avoidance dimensions. Malay communications is generally more context-dependent, allowing speakers to rely on shared understanding and visual cues. And in contrast, English communication tends to use clearer grammatical markers, such as these, to reduce ambiguity and make the intended meaning more explicit. Now I will discuss idiomatic expressions. According to New 2023, idiomatic expressions are fixed phrases whose meaning cannot be understood simply from the meaning of the individual words. Instead, their meanings are understood through common cultural usage. Looking at the examples of idiomatic expressions, in the Malay vlog, the speaker says, masuk dalam kaki ayam, when explaining the rules of entering a Japanese hot spring. The idiom kaki ayam, which the literal meaning is chicken feet, actually means entering barefoot or without wearing shoes. In the English vlog, the speaker says finger crossed while hoping that Mount Fuji will be visible despite the cloudy weather. The idiom is commonly used to express hope for good luck or a positive outcome. The similarity between both blogs is that both speakers choose idiomatic expressions instead of literal language. This makes their speech sound more natural, expressive, and culturally authentic. However, the two idioms are formed differently. The Malay idiom kaki ayam is based on a visual comparison between bare human feet and a chicken's feet. It reflects everyday observations from traditional village life. On the other hand, finger crossed is a symbolic expression originating from Western culture where crossing one finger was believed to bring good luck or divine protection. The difference can be related to Hofstede's long-term orientation dimensions. Both idioms demonstrate how language preserves cultural traditions across generations. The Malay idioms reflect traditional village life and close observations of nature, whereas the English idiom reflect long-standing Western belief and custom that continue to influence them everyday communications today.
Assalamualaikum and good morning everyone. My name is Ainul Huda binti Abdul Hamid, and today I will present one of the findings from special expression, which is exclamatory expression. So exclamatory expression are linguistic forms that are used to convey strong emotions, feelings or reactions. They can appear as a word, phrase or sentence and are often followed by exclamation marks. In this study, the Malay vlog contains the expression best gila, lawa gila, while the English vlog contains the expression wow, this is insane. In context, the Malay expressions best gila, lawa gila expresses the vlogger's excitement and admiration for the beauty of Mount Fuji, while the English expression wow, this is insane shows its amazement and admiration for the scenery. So the similarities between these two expressions is that both expressions are used to show excitement and admiration. The vloggers are not simply describing Mount Fuji, but they are expressing their emotional reactions to what they see. Second, both expressions function as exclamatory expressions because they communicate strong feelings in a spontaneous and engaging way. However, there are also important differences between the two expressions. The Malay expression, best gila, lawa gila, uses repetition together with the intensifier gila. The repetition creates a stronger emotional effect. It makes the expression sound more enthusiastic and exaggerated. This style of expression reflects a highly emotional and informal way of communicating admiration. On the other hand, the English expression uses wow, this is insane. They use the interjection, which is wow, together with the adjective insane. Instead of relying on repetition, the English expressions combines different linguistic elements to express admiration. As a result, the expression sounds more structured while still conveying a strong emotional reaction. From a cultural perspective, these findings reflect the concept of collectivism versus individualism. The Malay expression reflects a collectivist culture. In collectivist culture, communication often emphasizes shared feelings, closeness, and emotional connection with others. The use of the intensifier gila makes the expression more expressive and engaging, helping the speakers create a stronger connection with the audience. This shows how language can be used to build a sense of togetherness and shared experience. In contrast, the English expression reflects a more individualistic culture. Communication tends to be more direct and focuses on personal reaction. The phrase, wow, this is insane, expresses the speaker's own feelings clearly without relying on culturally intensified language. This demonstrates a communication style that emphasizes individuality and straightforward self-expression. Overall, this analysis shows that although both vloggers express admiration for the same destination, they do so through different linguistic and cultural approaches. Now, moving on to the conclusion, this contrastive analysis of Malay and English travel vlogs to Mount Fuji demonstrates that linguistic choices are shaped by cultural orientations. The Malay vlog reflects collectivist and high context communication through short sentences, casual pronouns, and idiomatic expressions that emphasize shared experiences. Meanwhile, the English vlog reflects individualist and low context communication through structured narration, precise grammar, and fillers that soften personal statement. Despite these differences, both vloggers share that the communication goal are the same, which is to engage audiences authentically and make viewers feel part of the journey. Therefore, the findings highlight both similarities and differences in how language is used to narrate the same travel experience. Based on these findings, several recommendations can be made. Malay vloggers may benefit from using more structured narration to help international audiences to follow the storyline more easily. At the same time, English vloggers could incorporate more casual expressions to create a greater sense of immediacy and relatability. By balancing clarity and spontaneity, vloggers can improve intercultural communication and reach a wider audience. Finally, this study shows that language is more than just a tool for communication. It also reflects cultural identity, values, and perspective. Through this analysis, I learned that everyday online discourse can reveal important cultural differences, and understanding these differences is essential for effective communication across cultures. That is all from us. Thank you.